And we did cover it, the NPP's annual Delegates Conference over the weekend in Koforidua, the Koforidua Technical University. We had great colleagues of ours on the ground. Some of us were back here in studio and outside the cameras, bringing you full coverage of the Delegates Conference. In the end, we know new executives have been elected. But one of our colleagues were on the ground on Saturday, Sunday, indeed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is Philip Osebo. So he's here with us. He's host of Ekosise on Asempa 94.7. Good morning, Phil.
Thank you for having me.
Let me just call you Obi.
Yes, I think I wanted to say Obi. Now, JoyNews. We like, brothalizing. So, but I think that is a good thing too. And all the experiences add up to what the great knowledge and literature, as well as the experiences will be for what we hope to see the next time around.
Yeah.
How was it though? Because I mean, we were here watching what you were feeding us with, but on the ground, you were there on Friday. On
Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So we did a Ekosise from the venue on Thursday. We did it on a Friday, and then we covered the Congress on Saturday.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. Was that the feel that Freddie Blay, General Secretary, Sammy Awuku, was that the feeling that it was a done deal for them?
It was a done deal for John Boadu, a done deal for Sammy Awuku. It wasn't a done deal for Freddie Blay. Let me say, it didn't come as a surprise to me, though, that he won eventually, because he was the establishment candidate. I mean, he was the favorite of the president. He was the favorite of the party structure, so it didn't come as a surprise. Probably the only surprise was the margin, the margin of his victory, because we all thought that, looking at how the establishment was behind him, he would have won by a landslide.
But this was 3,000 and 2,000 something.
So a little over 500 votes difference. And that should tell you that Stephen and team is a phenomenon when it comes to the NPP internal party politics. And no wonder he's almost 60. So he still has the opportunity to come, for probably a last shot.
Did he say he was going to go again?
He didn't. But the dynamics would mean that he might come again. If you take a look at his manifesto, it's here, it is not over until you stop trying. So I will not be surprised if he comes again. And mind you, Freddie Blay is almost 76 as we speak. And if he is national chairman at 76, and if Stephen Intim is about to hit 60, then he still has the opportunity to come back one more time. And I will not be surprised that at his 5th attempt, he might win the national chairmanship slot. So yes, it was not a surprise for me that Freddie Blay won. The only surprise, as I said, was the gap. John Boadu. The surprise again for the John Boadu one was the total number of votes his only opponent had, because the guy is a relatively unknown quantity in the NPP internal party politics. I mean, a lot of the delegates you speak to did not even know him. He is part of the NPP USA branch. This guy from nowhere came down and managed to poll over 1,000 votes, and that's huge. So imagine if it was down to a yes or no vote, and John Boadu getting over 1,000 no votes. That's what it means, going into this particular election. So yes, that was some bit of a surprise in there. For Sammy Awuku, I mean, we all knew he was going to win. For me, the litmus test going into this election was the NPP USA internal party elections. What they do is, before the delegates are sent down to come to do this, they hold this internal party elections in the NPP USA. So for this year, over 154 delegates voted. And if you look at the results, it's almost the same thing that happened, apart from the Nasara coordinator. That's the only place they got it wrong. But you look at the national chairmanship position in the NPP USA, Freddie Blay polled 76 votes. Stephen Intim polled 71 votes.
Oh, okay. It was still close.
Absolutely. So it showed here. For the youth organizer position in the NPP USA, Nana B won with over 40 votes. So it was the same thing that played out here. So for me, that was the real litmus test. And again, with the youth organizer position, the only difference was again the gap, because I think it was quite emphatic for Nana B. if you were on the ground 2 days before the election, it was extremely difficult to call who was going to win. Because, take it or leave it, Dominic Edua put up a splendid campaign. I mean, he pushed this thing down the wire. And you speak to Nana B himself, and he was like, wow, this guy has really brought out the best in me. Because he had to dig deep, you know, and bring out all his best arsenal to be able to win this. So, yes, the gap
You're not
was
mentioning Kamal Dean at all.
And Kamal Dean was an outsider going into this one. I mean, he was, yes. I interviewed Kamal Dean, and the kind of confidence he exuded, I was like, wow. And you know, he has a history. When he contested for the Nasara coordinator, he was a complete outsider. Nobody gave him a dog's chance to win. But he came back and won the national coordinator. So yes, I mean, he was the dark horse going into this one, and people thought he could come back and pull a surprise. But he garnered a little over 100 votes.
Yeah.
You know, so he was completely
out of the game.
This one. It was a straight fight between Nana B and Dominic Edua. But Nana B really gave Dominic Edua a thrashing going into this one. For me, Nana B would sit down, look back, and my only disappointment with the Youth Organiser campaign was that the campaign did not focus on policies and issues. It was on personality. So a lot more personal attacks, especially on social media. And social media was awash with accusations after accusations on either candidate. So we did not really scrutinize their campaign message well, because Nana B for the first time launched a youth manifesto. It hadn't happened before in the NPP. He launched a youth manifesto, all his policies for the party and all of that. And I would not be surprised that you will not get even 1,000 youth of the NPP to have read this particular manifesto. Because
or
the
even
campaign,
knowing that this exists.
knowing that something like this exists. The campaign was out of the issues to the personal attacks and all of that. So that's my only disappointment. One other novelty going into this was the debate for the aspirants. It hadn't happened before, but you know, some guys in the party, in the youth wing, managed to put together a huge debate, and it was, I think, a week to the election. One of the major undoings of Dominic Edua was the fact that he did not appear for that debate.
Was irrelevant because the president prior to 2016 also didn't take.
No, that's where you get it wrong. You know, it's an electoral college election for the Youth Organiser position. So you are looking at a little over 600 or so delegates. You know, so all constituency youth organisers and their deputies, all TESCON, either the president or a representative from the TESCON branch on the various university campuses. The youth organisers and their deputies from the external branches, you know, came into. So it's a specific targeted campaign. And this debate had all these guys present. Mind you, the panel that asked the questions were made up of all the former national youth organisers of the NPP, including the current Minister of Information. So Mustafa Hamid was there on that panel. You had, I think, a former deputy who is currently the man in charge of international relations for the NPP, Emmanuel Atefua, who is a former national youth organizer of the party on that panel. Anthony Cabo, current deputy minister of roads, former national youth organizer, MP for Laura, on that panel. Kojo Opon Nkrumah moderated the session. Sammy Awuku was the timekeeper.
Oh, okay.
You know, for that
so
debate.
This was relevant.
It was a huge platform. So yes. And I think his campaign managers, in this case, Dominic Edua campaign managers, let him down. Because in such elections, you sometimes need a campaign manager who will tell you to do the things you would not want to do as a candidate. That, hey, this is a platform we would have to appear on.
Yeah. Because
you get to directly engage with the youth organisers who will be voting. You know, you would have a strategy that I would want to, again, stick to the ground, meet them on the ground and all of that. But if you look at the history of the NPP and its youth organisers, media visibility played a key role. And that's how come Nana B won this, the media visibility. Yeah. He was out there. And I spoke to some youth organisers in the Eastern region, and they were like, Obi, we look at the potential youth organisers of the NDC. Because now if you look at the names out there, Broja Jemfi, the Ashanti Regional Youth Organiser now. He is charismatic,
loud, yes.
very loud, and all of that. And he also has got that media visibility. Another potential youth organizer for the NDC is the former Equiapim Municipal Chief Executive, Opareado. Very loud, very articulate, also very visible in the media and all of that. So if these are the potential youth organizers from the NDC, you cannot compromise, the candidate you put out.
Even in electing their own national youth organizer, they were looking at who that person could end up
absolutely
matching.
And that's how come the Nana B message resonated well with the youth organizers in the NPP, because yes, I have been doing banter with the NDC on radio. I can match them boot for boot when it comes to the radio debate, political communications, articulating the party's position on issues and all of that. So yes, it played to his advantage going into this. And the Dominic Edria strategy was good, but it was not enough to win him this.
Interesting. Yeah. Roland, we have we will go to Stephen Ntim as he delivered a speech, and many were also surprised that he stayed that long. And he was he had because there were songs that people were singing after the declarations were made, and people were surprised that he still stayed and even delivered this speech that we're going to play to you. So let's listen to Stephen Ntim, who delivered a speech. He didn't win.
It's rather unfortunate that I have to lose for the 4th time in my attempt to serve the party in the capacity of national chairman. However, once again, it is victory for the New Patriotic Party, because we have succeeded in electing our new crop of national officers to steer the affairs of the party for the next 4 years. As usual, my loyalty to the New Patriotic Party is not shaken by what has taken place. You can continue counting on Stephen Ntim as usual, because it is party first. You can always count on me.
This is a 4th-time, still not chairman for Stephen Ntim. But he did well. He stayed. There were so many songs that people were singing. I heard Nitiati and things like that that Nanaya was singing to me back early this morning.
No, but the point is, when you get on the ground, especially on the day of the election, it was evident that the establishment was against him. So he was not the favorite candidate of the establishment. And I was not surprised at the turnout, as I said earlier. The point is, even when he was entering the Congress grounds, the venue for the Congress, there were some altercations between the security there and his private security, to the extent that one member of his private security was seriously manhandled, by
did he enter late? Because we're watching.
He entered late.
That was the time he entered. Okay.
He entered even
after the president.
Yes, after the president. He entered very, very
because that's
late.
when they made the announcement that the president was seated. Nobody would be allowed into that perimeter.
Yeah, so he entered very late. And what happened there was quite unfortunate. But the party leadership took it over and sought to resolve in that particular issue. But from the word go, the establishment was against him. And I think it emanated from an interview we had with him on Ekosi, saying after that tape leakage, where he confirmed the fact that the president had tried to, talk him into stepping down
to make way for Alaji shots
and all of that. And from that time, the campaign began to take a nosedive, because he was up there on the internal polls that he was winning this hands down. And mind you, one other thing that worked against him was Alaji Short stepping down, because that meant that the difference was 500. So imagine Alaji Short was in the race, and Alaji Short had garnered, say, 800 votes. Then Ntim would have won, because it was clear Alaji Short would have taken some vote out of the Freddie Blay vote. So Ntim would have won.
Let's go to the phone lines now. Let's speak to a man who was National Youth Organiser, who is now National Organiser of the party. Sammy Awuku joins us via phone. Good morning to you. First of all, congratulations. I guess it's appropriate.
Good morning. Thanks so much.
Hello, Mr. Awuku.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What are you, I mean, what's going to change? You are National Youth Organiser, now you're a National Organiser. Share with us what people should expect from you as National Organiser.
Well, first of all, let me say a very, very thank you to the delegates of the NPP and also the bigger party as well. Let me also say a very big thank you to our God for giving us the clear skies that day and also seeing us through. There was something instructive about this delegate conference. Apart from me being an aspirant at that time, together with the General Secretary, the Treasurer, and the National Chairman acting, we were still taking time off our campaign schedules to plan the whole event. So it wasn't an easy task. And we're planning for an event that was going to host in excess of 10,000 people. And so we thank God that we were able to put it through. I didn't come on a silver platform. Now to your substantive question of what is going to change. Well, I'm no longer just in charge of the youth. Article 14 of the NPP constitution at that time emboldened me as youth leader to concentrate on just the youth development, be their lead advocate, and also ensure that I speak on their behalf on issues militating against their development, their interest on education, and their welfare. Now, the NPP constitution has given me a wider scope, and that is being in charge of the youth, the women, the NASARA, and also being in charge of the party's training program, being in charge of the party's operations, and being at the forefront of the party's organizational structure. In effect, it's just marching orders that Sammy Awuku organized the party and the country to secure us more than 50% in 2020 elections. So that is the task handed down to me. And I am confident that with the good planning, good strategy, and with being very consultative and being on the ground, I should be able to help the NPP secure another term. You know, victory in 2020 will not come on a silver platter, but I'm confident that we'll be able to work above ourselves, not be complacent, and also serve the Ghanaian people in dignity and with respect. We should be able to renew our mandate.
So we were following some of the speeches that were delivered. We're listening keenly to what former President John Agyekum Kufuor said. And I wonder if then, as parents, you were paying attention to the comments as well. For instance, he says power has a way of tricking people. Not only what Mr. Kufuor said, but any of the other speeches delivered. Anything that you picked out from the messages delivered on Saturday?
Well, first of all, that we needed to be a disciplined party. We needed to also ensure that we bring everybody together. We also needed to also, as the party, take a look at how we also organize our events and all that. And, we took notice of that. And the time, we're also going to sit down, analyze all the speeches again, underline some statements and comments. And then we build upon it. The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. And so we are determined to improve upon our elections, determined to improve upon how we go about our things, and to make us the party of choice for the Ghanaian people.
Finally, before I let you go, when should we expect your deputies, Deputy General Secretary, for instance? When should we expect those announcements?
It's amazing that this morning almost all the interviews that the media is shifting the debate straight into our deputies. Let us milk our victories more before you add our deputies.
So when would you be done with the celebrations?
Are you interested?
You've won a lot of victories, so.
Yeah, so I'm asking, are you interested in becoming one of the deputies?
How easy would it be for me?
Oh, we can have an arrangement. Don't mind.
Okay.
Basically, we're looking at, in earnest, sitting down. Of course, there are a lot of people who have approached me to be deputy. I need to sit down and have a look at it. And it is not my appointment. It will be an appointment of the National Executive Committee per the constitution of our party. We may have some persuasive arguments in there. We may have some lobbying in there. And normally, the National Executive Committee wouldn't impose people on us. However, we are not bound by our decision to. There is normally some kind of consultation between us and them because to improve upon a good working relation.
Okay.
So I'm looking at all the dynamics.
So people have started lobbying already? People have started lobbying already?
Oh, plenty of them.
But is there somebody that you have in mind?
I'm open. I'm open to continuity and change. What I mean by that is I have deputies already, and I've moved from that position to another position.
Okay. So we take it that you're carrying them along?
I haven't said that. These are your words.
We'll leave it here. Thank you very much for your time. Congratulations
Thank
again.
you so much.
That's Sammy Awuku there. He's national organizer of the party.
Solid guy. Solid guy. His rise in the NPP's internal politics has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
And no wonder some analysts, even within the party, have said that he's a likely presidential material for the NPP. Solid organizer, solid campaigner. He knows what time it is, you know, as far as internal, and he's probably one of the most powerful figures in the NPP now, you know. And I'm not surprised at his vote tally.
Yeah,
you know,
that's over 4,000.
Over 4,000.
Yeah, 4,903.
Absolutely,
and he had 5,800 delegates.
So that's huge. And now it's down to who the deputies will be.
Yeah.
And you know, you tried pushing him, but as smart as he was, he tried to. I would not be surprised to see him appoint Dominic Edo as one of his deputy national organizers.
Okay, that would be interesting.
Yeah, because he worked very well with him as his deputy national youth organizer. You know, so I'll not be surprised to see him promoting him, because you know the substantive office holders are given the opportunity to nominate people they feel comfortable working with, and then NEC would then decide whether to accept them or not. So I'll not be surprised to see that.
Should we
probably?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, probably. Where I would want to see changes would be the Deputy National Youth Organizer positions. If you followed the campaign in 2016, you would realize young women played a key role for the NPP. So you had loyal ladies, a lot of those groups. So young women played a key role, and I would want to see Nana B appoint a woman as one of his, you know, deputy organizers. Of course, the issues of regional balance and all of that would come in, because for Sammy Awuku, he had one Westerner in Dominic Edua representing the southern part of the country, and Salam representing the northern part of the country. So you have that regional balance, which should also play out in this. So in the appointive positions, that's where you can have that balance in, because for the appointive executives, they cannot attend steering committee meetings, but they can attend National Executive Committee meetings and National Council meetings. So yes, that's where we would focus now in going forward. Who would get all those?
I think one of the things that will be also interesting will be the Deputy General Secretary position.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if John Boadu would want to go with the current deputy. In this case, Nana Boakye would come up stronger. But let's see how it goes. I am not too sure.
Did they work well together? I mean, we didn't hear of any conflicts per se.
Yes.
When Nana Boakye speaks, I mean, that's him speaking.
Yeah.
When John Boadu
speaks, it's
really,
John Boadu speaking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You didn't.
I think they worked well together until that tape that tape came out. So he was a bit alienated from the party after that tape. He exercised some sort of indiscretion in that whole issue. So I'll not be surprised if the party should ditch him at this moment and get a new Deputy General Secretary. But let's see how it goes. One other interesting point was that concession speech by Stephen and team. If anything would win him the chairmanship in the near future, it will be that speech.
Will the delegates remember?
They would.
They will remember the speech?
Because the delegates largely remain the same for the next election. Of course, there will be a build-up of other members along the line prior to that national conference.
And I think for the 5th time he might be lucky. I'm not too sure if Chairman Freddie Blay would want to go again.
And that will be in 4 years?
That will be in 4 years, 2022. 2022. And mind you, the task of this current executive would be to win the 2020 election and to put the party in good stead to win 2024. Right. Because their tenure would come to an end in 2022. So they would have to put the party in, because all of them campaigned on the fact that they would want to make the NPP an election-winning machinery, meaning they would want to end that convention of every party getting 8 years. So they would want to go beyond the 8 years, conventional rule and probably get the NPP, because Freddie Blay said, at the Congress that he would want the NPP to be in power for 60 years. So it depends on the structures he put in place, and that would be tough.
All right, Obi, are you back on air or because of the World Cup?
I'm back on air. The World Cup, there are no matches today, so
you're back on air.
Okay,
that'll be great. Wish you all the best for the day.
Our show. I'll be listening on the radio. It's 94.7. You could see saying it's at 2 p.m. every weekday. All right. So Roland has a conversation. The minority in Parliament is demanding what it calls a forensic audit into accounts and activities of the Ghana National Petroleum Commission, which is chaired by NPP Chairman Freddie Blay. This follows what the NDC terms vulgar opulence and vote buying at the newly elected chairman of the party. So ranking member of the Mines and Energy Committee, Adam Mutawakilo, is on the show after this. Stay with us.